Hello everybody, my name is Millie and welcome to RX tutorial. In this episode, we are going to build a sales report, and for that, we have this data. So we have information about some products, how much was sold in a particular period of time, which channel was used, and who was the salesperson. We have more information about the salesperson and their managers. And finally, what was the target for these individual salespeople? So let's begin by creating a measures table so that we can put all of our measures in. Let's call it key measures table. Okay. So now we would want to get information about how much sales was done in a particular period of time. So we get some of the sales. It was sales amount. Let's put this in a card. So we had a total of 17.9 million sales in the period. And then also let's see what was the target. So the target amount in the period. Let's add it to this card information. And also let's see what was then the total profit. So the profits would be the sales minus the target. This gives us the profit. Let's expand this. And how much orders were done in this particular period of time? What is the number of orders? So we are going to count the number of orders, but we are going to use a distinct count just in case some orders were repeating or we had to duplicate information. So now let's add our number of orders to it. So we realize this is not showing the orders, so we go into the format pane and in the layout, and we can decide how many should be shown. So let's say 6, so that everything gets shown, and we can just format this a bit more. So let's reduce this a bit to like 30, so that it fits perfectly. Okay, now we have our general statistics, getting a better idea of the amount of sales and targets. Let's format this a bit more to just round it up to 1 decimal place. So we go into the sales measure, and then we can just come here. We can just choose as a decimal and then make it 1 decimal place. What we can also do is to add the currency to it. So what is this? This is the euro. So let's just add the euro to it and do same for the others as well. No, let's just change the position of the euro. Okay, so this is what we have so far. We can leave this for now and later come back to format these a bit more. So let's just finish with making everything to one decimal place. And then now the targets. Okay, so we would want to compare the amount of sales through the years that we have. So for that, let's start with a line chart. So we can get our sales information on the y-axis, and then we can use the calendar table to get the date. So that we get this information, we can just take away the date, the day information, and the quarter to make it a bit simple. If we want to compare the budget information or the target, then let's use a different visual. So for that, let's use this visual. That is the line and clustered column chart. Now let's add what was the target as the line chart to it. And this is what we end up with. So we have our sales information, then we can compare it to the target in the years that we have. What if we are interested in so looking at sales by, for example, the channel that was used. So we can get this funnel visual, and then the category or the sales value would be in the values portion and which channel was used. So then we have the sales information also by channel. And then finally, we can also look at the sales by other field as well. So we can have the sales again. We have the sales here, and then we can go to look at the sales agent to see sales by, for example, the supervisor. So this is what we have as well. Let's just try to fit them here. What we can do is to later increase the width of this report. So for now, I'm just going to push this one here for us to get everything started. And then later we can go in and format it to make it look professional. Okay, so now we can do other analysis. So we can look at the products that were sold also. So how much sales did we have for each product? So we can start here with sales, and then we go into the product table, and let's pick a higher hierarchy. So let's look at it by the product group. So this is the information that we have as well. And also what we can also take a look at is sales again by the salesperson. So which salesperson had most sales? We can also do that analysis. So we bring it here, and basically we can have these elements, and now we can look at which salesperson had the highest sales, which in this case is Carla. and she had over 4.7 million in sales. But then we can make this dashboard way better. What we can do first is, let's start by increasing the width of this dashboard. So let's increase it so that we can make everything fit nicely. So we can go into the canvas setting and then change it to custom so that we can determine our own width. Let's increase the width to 1400, and let's make the height 820 to give us more room. Okay, so this is what we have so far. And then we start to make everything much nicer. So let's start with this. To look at the new cards, we can make the height 90. Let's make the height of this 90. And then for the width of this, let's make it a bit smaller. So 790. And then later we can position it well. So we position it in the middle here. And let's go down and make the other elements also nicer step by step. So we start with the sales by time in visual. So that is what we have here. And let's see, we have the sales and the target. What if you would want to compare it with so let's see, we have this visual, and let's increase the width a bit more. So let's make it, we go into the properties. What if we make it around, let's say 690 to make it a bit larger, or let's say like a bit more, so 710. And let's make the height 300 because now we have a bit more space. And for the sales by channel also, this is 17. Yeah. And for the sales by channel, let's make the height also 300 and make the width also 300. And then let's position it well. So one thing that can help us with the positioning is to lock the visuals in place so that they don't move around. Let's put this at 737, so move it a bit. And then here at 110, so 110. And let's do the same for this as well so they are aligned properly. And then moving on to the sales by supervisor, we also make the height 300. And then the width, we can make it 330. And then this as well, we make it 110 to make it, so the vertical should be 110. And then horizontally, we can make it 1065. Let's see, so that this is what we have and they are all aligned. What we can do is to turn off the grid lines from the visual to make it better. So we also turn off the grid lines here. So the horizontal grid line is turned off. and we can do same for the vertical. And now if we would want to basically look at these and say, okay, what was the sales compared to your target, there is another information we can add here. So we go into this visual to the formatting section, and then we go here into the colors, and we say so we would want to see if the sales was more than the target, we should have one color, and if the sales was less than the target, it should have another color. So for that, we have to first create a measure. So let's create the measure first. Let's call this measure sales versus target. And then basically we are going to divide the sales. We are going to get a proportion of sales as against the target. And we can add an additional parameter. So if there is an error, we can just put a 0 instead. So this is what we have. So now that we have this measure, what we can then do is we go into the colors. So we come into the colors, and then we use conditional formatting to make it work. So let's just use this based on the rule and based on the measures that we just created. So the sales versus the target. So we can say if the value is greater than 1, so if the is greater than 1 as a number, but then less than, let's go up to, let's say 10, or we can put like 100, any maximum number. Then we want a particular color. What color would we want to use? Let's use this color. But if it's less than, if it's greater than, 0, so 0, which is also a number, and then it's less than 1, so we have this starting as 1 and this should be less than 1. Then we also have to give it a different color, and the color that we would give it is this. Okay, so let's click OK. And then this is what we have so far, which is looking nice already. So let's go a bit further and also change the markers and the line visual. We should add markers to it as well. So for that, we come into the line section. We first want to reduce the line a bit. So let's have a line width of 1. And then we can look at the color. And let's just use this color for that. And then we go and we enable the markers. Let's look at the marker width. Let's just maybe reduce it by 1. So this is what we have. Let's just save this as the golden principle in everything computing. Let's just save this. And now what we can do is to change the background color so that it's a bit more reflective of the dashboard that we are seeking to achieve. So the background color that we would want to choose is this. So we just click anywhere outside, and then we go into the format, and we go into canvas background, and we can change the color. So let's put this color in, and the transparency should be 0 so that we get the color. So this is already started to look good already. So let's save this once again. And then now we go into this and we try to find the background. So let's go to effect, and let's just make this transparent. So this is what we have. Now let's go and do more formatting. So we go into the visual, we go into the x-axis, and then for the x-axis, the color, let's change the color to white. And let's turn off the title because we already have a title here. We go into the y-axis as well, we turn off the titles, and for the values, let's change it into white as well. And then we can just turn off the labels if we want, because we already know we have sales as against the target. But just let's leave it on so that we kind of see the difference. And then we can go into the main title and we change the color for the main title as well. Let's go here and make it white as well. So this is already looking very nice. I think we should just turn off the legend for now. And again, we save this. So let's apply the same changes to the next visual, which is the funnel visual. So we go here as well into the background, we go into general, go into the effect, and then we make this transparent as well. We come back to the visuals and we can look at the data labels. Okay, the data label is, I think, already white. Okay, let's change this to white. And then we can change the colors also. So let's pick the other color that we would want. And we want this color. Then we go into the category labels and make it white as well. And the conversion rate, so this bars, we also change it to white as well. And finally, the title, we also make the title white. Yes, looking better. We do the same principle for this visual as well. So we go into the title and we change it to white. We go to the background, we just make it transparent so that we pick the report's background color. And now we go into the x-axis, we turn off the title, we make the values white. And same for the y-axis. And then we turn off this as well. So we are going to also change for the bars as well. Let's just make this. We are going to change the colors to make it similar to what we have already. And let's add a data label to it. So we add a data label. And then let's change the color of the data label. Just to make it consistent, we change the font type as well. And now already the dashboard has started to look nice. Now let's tackle the new card visuals next. So we can go into the background. So we go into the effects. We also make this transparent. And let's see. So we have this background here as transparent. We come into the layout itself. Let's start from the card. We go into the background and make it transparent. And we look at the callout values. We change that to white. And we center that as well. And then for the label, we make the label white as well. And this is already looking nice. Maybe we can change this background a bit more. Let's look at these colors. Let's change this color a bit more to make it so let's go back into the cards. And then we make the transparent 0 again so that we can see the differentiation in that. And we can do more formatting to this new card visual, which I like so much. It helps you to format all the different cards at a goal, and you can also format them individually. What we can do is to change this a bit. So from a rectangle, we can make it into a rounded rectangle. And then make the pixels, let's see, how much rounded corners do we want? Yeah, let's just leave this as normal. And this is looking good already. Let's see, what else do we want to add? I think let's just reduce this a bit to 10. Yeah, and I think this looks better. So this is what we have. Let's move this up a bit. So let's look at the position. Yeah, let's just make it 10 instead. And to even make this better, if we go to the sales by products group, we can use another visual in the marketplace called a Pareto chart. So that chart gives you the ability to see the product groups in descending order similar to this, and you can see where there is a limit. So you can set like a threshold, and usually for the Pareto principle, you want to see how many products contribute to 80% of your sales, for example, and this gives you the ability. So you can basically go into these 3 dots here, the ellipse, and you go into get more visuals. And then we can set for the Pareto chart. Since I already have it, I'm not going to click on it, but then you could click on it to add it. I already have it here. So we can click on this visual and then we change it into that. So this is what we have. And then we can edit it a bit to make it look way nicer. Let's start by adjusting the width and height. So basically, for this, what we can do is We can go into the properties, and for the height, let's make it 360. And for the width, let's make it 775, make it a bit bigger. And then let's start with more formatting. So for the positioning, we can just bring it down a bit. Let's see. So maybe let's pick like 445 just to bring it down a bit. And let's go and start making this look nicer. So same idea here. Let's go back here. Let's look at the effect. And let's change this. Let's see. Just to pick up the background color. And then, so we have the background color similar to everything else. Let's start making some changes here. So we have the bottom axis. We can make it white instead. And then we can just leave this color. I think that is okay. And we can either stack the words or we can rotate them. So let's click on rotating. And for how much, what is the angle? Let's make it 30 so that everything looks nicer. So this is already looking way nicer. So for the left axis as well, let's change the text color to white. And then we can change the units. So instead, because these are in millions, let's just make it as millions so that it looks nicer. And the currency, let's just select this as well. So this is the euro sign, just to be consistent with the other ones. And same for the right axis. So let's save this, which we don't see currently. Let me just move this a bit for now so that we can see that. Let me make it 17. Okay, still needs to be moved a bit, so maybe 730 and 80. Yeah, so that we could see this one. And then we come back here and we go into the right axis. We also make this white as well, just to make this one look nicer. And then we go into the chart. So for the arc, we're also going to make it white. And then the text color of the percentages as well white. And then we can adjust the density. So how much is plotted here? Let's just make it a bit spread out. So we can make it sparse so that we see where the key informations are. So then this is what we have as well. And for the values, let's just turn these values off to make it simple. And let's see what else can we add here. So we can add a title. The title is off, so we add the title as well. And then we call it the Pareto chart. So we are looking at sales by product group. And we make it white as well. So far, I think everything is looking really nice. So let's move on to the other visual and make these changes as well. So we can come to the sales by salesperson visual, and we also adjust the height of it. So we also make this 360. And then we make the width think we can add like maybe 16. Yeah, and for the positioning, let's see, this is 780, which is okay. And for this, we also make it 460, similar to the other one. Let me just check the positioning here. So that one was 445. So we have 445. And we can go in, I think we can change this visual type again. So if you come back to the visualization pane, let's use a tree map for this. I think this looks way nicer. So we have this as well. We go to the background, and then for the background, let's go to the effects and make this transparent as well. And the title, we change it to the white color as well. So we have this. We can add the data labels to it so that we see the sales for each salesperson. And I think this is already looking very nice. Let's move this a bit to have a bit more space here. Let's make this 5 instead. Yeah, to push this out a bit. So our dashboard is really looking very nice. Then if we hover over this, so we see the product, the percentage it's contributed, and then the sales associated. But then what if you want to see the product's image? Because we have the products here. So if you go into the products table, we have the pictures of these products. So let's go and change that. So we come back and we create, let's create a tooltips. Let's make this a tooltips. We can, and so that when we hover over that, instead of showing us the product and product group, we see the images itself. So same here, we can give it a background color. Let me just get the background color to match up with what we have for the dashboard. So we come here and we change this. And then we set the transparency to 0 so that we have this background color. And now what we can have is we get the photo. So let's come back here, and then we come here and it's called product group. This is the URL. So this is what we have for them. Let's make it a bit smaller to fit well. So for that, we go into the format pane. We go into general. Let's look at the height. First let's check. So let's put this height here. Let's make the height of 95. Let's see, 95. And a width of, let's say 144. Let's just start with that, make it a bit smaller, and let's see how to position it as well. So let's put this at 30 and the vertical at 5. We don't want it to become too big as well. So what we can also do then is to add more information here. So we can add the sales information. Oh, wait a second. Let's just go back one step. So this is what we are having currently. Let's see. Oh yeah, to make this show nicely, I think we need another marketplace applications or marketplace visual. So let's go into the marketplace and get that. I think that would be make it nicer. So we go to the apps source, and then we search for simple image. So this is it. That helps us to have the image here nicely. I already have it installed, so I'm not going to add it again, but then you can add it if you don't have that. So you can add it here. I already have it here. Let me just click out of this. So I have this as a table. So instead of having this as a table, let's convert this into this. Yes, this is already looking okay. And now we can add our sales information as I can bring a card and then add that into it. So we have this new card here. Let's adjust the size. So let's make the height of this 70. Let's click on this. Let's first bring in the sales information, and we want to compare it to the order. So we had, so this was how much was sold in the orders. Then now let's go here and change it a bit. So the height, we want to make it 70, make it smaller, and the width as 190. And then let's position it. So let's put 10. And the vertical should be 100 is okay. So we would have to go into this card visual and then adjust it so that it fits well. So the call out values, let's go out there and make it smaller. So we have this as 45. Let's make it 15 so that it fits. And okay, so we have this, and for the label, let's make the label a bit smaller. So if you go down, we have a label of 12. Let's make it like 9 so that it kind of fits better. Let's leave this for now and come back into our main dashboard. So we go into this visual and we say we want a tooltip. Instead of this, we can make it page 2 so that when we hover over this, it should show us this. This looks a bit bigger, so let's go and adjust the tooltips once again. So we go back into the tooltips, and then what we can do is to look at the setting and adjust it. We don't want the tooltip to also take too much space. So instead of just leaving it as tooltip, we can make it custom, and then we can reduce the height. So let's make it 170. And also make the width a bit smaller. So the width, let's make it 200. Okay. And so for this, let me just go in and turn off or make it transparent so that we get the background color. So this is what we would have here. And if we should go into the cart and make the background transparent as well, what then we can do is to go here and change the color to white and also the label to white as well. Okay, this is already looking very nice, and let's just rename this to product tooltip. So let's go back And now if you should hover over it, you would see this product, which is paper bag, the amount, the corresponding sales, and the number of orders. And if we should change to another product, so the second highest, the one with the second highest sales, which is oil, with a sales of 2.9 million. And then this makes your dashboard really nice. So now this changes as well. We see the sales and the orders associated with that as well. So yeah, there we have it. And here, so what's one important thing is for the Pareto chart, you could see where how many products corresponded to 80% of your sales. So if you want to focus on that to increase the sales, then that would really help. So if you wanted to spend some effort somewhere, then technically we could have a line here up onto like spices. And then this, if you draw like an imaginary line here, it gets you to up to 80% of the sales. So yeah, this is what we have. Thank you everybody for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you next time.